mysterious cats and kittens, I'm sure by now you're all wondering, what is Kawaii City, Japan? Short answer, a slew of questions with some pretty complicated answers about how we understand Japan. Long answer starts, nah. Have you ever considered some of the intriguing contrasts that rise out of Japan? How does a country run by warriors evolve into a market saturated with iconography such as Hello Kitty and Ririkuma? One of Japan's most revered founding deities is a woman. So then where did geisha come from? And to that end, why do they permit comfort women? Have you ever considered the way in which our countries interact? Did your high school teach about the Japanese internment camps? Or was it like my high school, where all they taught was, well, they bombed us, so we definitely bombed them? Did you know that not long before we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, scientists truly thought the world might end with the first test in New Mexico? How about without the atomic bomb, there would be no Godzilla destroying cities and terrifying innocent townspeople? In truth, the atomic bomb is a subject that's very dear to my heart, and we'll explore that much more in the future. How does a Shinto shrine stand in the center of a shopping plaza? What's the connection between earthquakes and monstrous catfish? How does a sea of men in business suits coexist alongside the fashions of Harajuku? And why do samurai concepts like seppuku and harakiri even still exist? Ultimately, why is a culture so heavily rooted in tradition equally interested in dramatic change and progress? How has Japanese American culture changed to fit the needs of an American audience? Maybe we can learn something more about our own culture in the ways that others try to adapt to it. Here in the United States, our interpretation of Japan is often obscured. It can be terribly misunderstood even by some of its biggest fans. Some individuals take their knowledge of the Japanese culture and language from comic books, anime, and unlimited access to their pop culture. They're valuable cultural assets, no doubt, but there's also a disservice we do ourselves when we limit our perspective to only these means. What would happen if other countries learned our interests, language, and mannerisms from SpongeBob or Family Guy or The Beebs? We'd be in big trouble, right? And in case it wasn't obvious, I'm certainly not above nerding out over the things that make my heart beat. That's what I'm doing here after all. But let's try to be well-rounded geeks. So why does all this matter anyway? I think in the end what's at stake is identity. How we see ourselves, how we understand others, and the exchange that happens between us in the process. So what's really involved is everyone. And Japan offers us a means to study the development of identity in a climate characterized by dramatic change and consistent traditional values. But don't worry, cats and kittens, it's not as boring as it all sounds. Let's have fun, exchange ideas, and find answers. Kawaii City, Japan, or me that is, will release videos and articles. So please, share your thoughts and questions. I want to talk about the things you're interested in too. Really, send me your questions. If you have the interest and I don't have the knowledge, I'll do the research and we'll all gain from it. Kawaii City, Japan is all made possible by our collaborative efforts and connections. So let's do this and make a difference. So after our first meeting here, you can expect a pretty different feel to the show. The next video will explore the Japanese perspective on Americans and the American perspective of the Japanese and what happens when people miss the facts, which, as it turns out, is a little bit horrific and a lot of it funny. So stay tuned for that and I'll see you then.